going to talk about time. Time, people say, all right, time is money, time is money. Well, if you have time will help you get more money, but time is not money. Time is more precious than money. Time is better. I've never seen anybody on their deathbed say, man, if I just had a little more money. It would take some time over that anytime. So now why is this time thing so important? I'm gonna give you 3 things that you will start to see a monumental difference tomorrow if you can manage it properly. First of all, when you manage time, you also manage stress. Stress kills. And nothing can stress you out than just not taking care of time, having time, not managing your time properly. Another thing, opportunity. Because when you manage time, you move those things out of the way so you can have opportunities can enter. You open up that funnel for opportunity when you manage your time. And ultimately, not the ultimate, but this is a big one too, money. You're going to make more money, just plain and simple, when you manage your time better. Let me give you some truism. I'm going to call these Gatewood truisms. Just things that I live by that I have admitted are true. First one is that you have to realize how long things take. Really, very few things take 5 minutes. We toss that term around far too often. I'll be there in 5 minutes. Unless you're on the elevator or in the parking lot. Even that's kind of risky, iffy. When you tell somebody I'm going to be there in 5 minutes, you're not really managing your time properly, and you're setting somebody up for disappointment. Tell them, look, I'll be there as soon as I can if you must. But 5 minutes, God, man, that's only 300 seconds. When somebody tells me that, I immediately put a little demerit beside their name. This person does not understand how time works. They're down the street. I know they're at least 5 minutes away. They're telling me they're going to be there in 5 minutes. They're still in the house putting their coat on. I'm in a room, office with an elevator. You can take about 3 minutes to get up the elevator. So nothing takes 5 minutes, okay? Just realize, be aware of how long things take. Now, at some point, here's a truism too. Folks, at some point, it's just better to get a new one. You know, some of you all under my voice right now, you've been tinkering around with that old device, that old car, that old phone, that old computer, and just the time you have spent, you could have bought 5 of them. Sometimes you just got to go ahead and get a different one. You got to get a new, or at least pay somebody to fix it. Your time is too valuable to keep fooling around with old crap that's not going to work. Now, here's something, another truism. The amount of time you have is not an indicator of how much success you have. You think if you have all the time in the world, you're going to go out here and be successful. I tell you what, folks, it's almost like the opposite is true. The less time you have, the more likely you're going to be successful in the things that you embark upon because you value time. I use the old saying, if you want something done, get a busy person to do it. What does that mean? Busy people, particularly ones who are busy the right way, they understand time. They're not going to sit on things. They're going to move things along because they have other stuff to do. I use that a lot. People call me the Gatewood. Are you busy? Yeah. Well, you can't handle my project. Yes, I can. Because I'm busy. I'm going to get you in here. I'm going to give it the best shot, put it on my schedules, manage it, and get you out the door in the shorter period of time probably than anybody else because I'm busy. I don't have time to be sitting around here playing with your project the rest of my life. Oh, boy. Now, here's something you got to learn, ladies and gentlemen. One of the 3 needs that I call the highest of all times is security, consensus, and scarcity. And this applies to time, too. Scarcity of time breeds urgency. It heightens the desire. In other words, the less time you have, the more desirable you tend to be to others. Think about it. If somebody just always available all the time, I got to look at them at a little side eye. Wait a minute. Now, you do have a life, right? You're not like homeless. I'm knocking homeless people. What I'm saying, somebody just available all the time. They got all the time in the world. Then I gotta give you a little side eye look. Nobody wants you when you have all the time in the world. As a matter of fact, I hate to say it, folks, eventually they're going to start avoiding you. I'm just saying, these are Gatewood truisms, okay? Now, let me tell you about some of the enemies of time. If you want to kill time, you want to put time on your hate list, here's some time killers. Procrastination. Only thing I'm going to say, folks, just do it. Just do it. I think that was a Nike slogan. You sitting there thinking about it. You hemming and hawing. You running it up the flagpole to see salutes. All that time is just being wasted. You're meeting about it. You're doing, man, just pull the trigger. It might be wrong, but hopefully it won't kill you. I'm not saying be hasty, but procrastination is unjust delay. Another one is perfectionism. Boy, I could beat this to death. I could talk like 10 shows on this. And I tell you, boy, woo, Lord have mercy. Anybody in my line of work, or even really some of these other lines of work, anything involving creativity or where there's subjectivity, where opinions might come into play, Lord have mercy, you're going to have a hard time. Because some people, they're shooting for perfectionism where it doesn't exist. And perfectionism sometimes boils down to their view of the world. You want to kill some time? Just add that. Become a perfectionist. And pettiness falls in the same category. Time killers. Those are enemies of time. Now here's some friends of time. You want some allies. Partnerships. Man, get you some folks around you can work with to move that ball down the court. That's a friend of time. Promptness, getting stuff done on time. That's a friend of time. Patience. That's a friend of time. I'm going to tell you why patience. Some people might think patience falls into the line of the perfectionism and procrastination. I'm going to tell you why. Because right now I'm going to go into my Gatewood time tips. Action items. Things that you can start doing today. Because let me tell you something, folks. I'm on a mission of helping you build businesses. I can give you all the marketing advice in the world. I can sit here and talk about the 4 P's of marketing: left brain, right brain, the industry life cycles, consensus, social proof, desire to belong, the laws of marketing. But if you're not managing time, it's all for naught. So I'm going back to one of my core foundational beliefs. I'm a foundationalist. You can't get to the big stuff if you don't lay down the foundation. And foundation number 1 is your ability to manage time. Wasted time is the vanguard of failure. If you want to fail tomorrow, you keep wasting your time. Okay, let me give you my 10 tips. Then we're going to get out of here so you can get to work. Let me save you some more time. First of all, plan and organize. If you decide to go down if you decide to drive down to California tomorrow, and I just jump in my car and start driving, I'm going to kill a lot of time. I may not ever get there. Just simple map, set my GPS. Might take 30 seconds to set the GPS. It's going to save me about 10 hours of driving around in circles. Plan and organize. That simple. Number 2, be on time. If you get there, if you got a meeting at 9 o'clock, if you're pulling up in the driveway at 9 o'clock, you're already late. You're wasting somebody's time already. You're about to waste time. Be on time, which means really be early. Now, I want you to also practice time reciprocity. In other words, you want folks to respect your time, respect other people's time. Time reciprocity. Don't waste people's time if you want them to respect your time. I want you to do this too. This might take a minute. You may have already thought about it. You probably already know it. You just haven't marinated on it long enough. Figure out when you are your most productive. That's your homework. I just realized it, folks. I fight it, but I know I'm more productive in the morning. I don't like getting up in the morning that early. But man, I get in the office at 7 o'clock. I'm like that Marine ad they used to do. I do more by 9 o'clock than most folks do all day if I get an early start. So I want you to figure out when are you your most productive and govern yourself accordingly. I've already said it. Don't be a procrastinator or a perfectionist. Let some of this petty stuff go. Yes, we have our preferences, but folks, let's not spend time on the small stuff. An imperfect mile on time is better than a perfect inch that's late. Okay. Spend more time on the critical many and less time on the trivial few. Because sometimes, folks, that trivial few is the easy stuff. We don't want to, it's that low-hanging fruit sometimes we get addicted to. But sometimes you got to pass on that. It's not low-hanging fruit. Sometimes it's fruit's on the ground. It's rotten. You have to spend more time and go up in that tree and get the critical few. I'm wrapping it up here, folks. Now, make your meetings count. We've got into meeting mania during this pandemic. Man, people meeting every time. You don't need to meet every time. Sometimes just pick up the phone. Yeah, one question. You have a daggone Zoom meeting. You spend 15 minutes trying to get the Zoom set up. Your connection working? Let me check my internet. Hold on, let me reboot. You've killed a half hour to an hour when you could have just picked up the phone or sent somebody an email. Woo! Also, limit how much time you give people. Everybody doesn't need an hour. When you set up a meeting, it's almost like by default. Let's set up the meeting from 10 to 11. You don't need an hour most of the cases. You can probably get that out in 15 minutes. Beware of the illusions of saving time. Now, this is important. Sometimes we think we're saving time by taking shortcuts. But you got to slow down sometimes and spend some time on training, explaining, and maintaining. Yes, you can write that down. We have these illusions of saving time. But you can save some time sometimes by investing in training, explaining, and maintaining. In other words, train your people. Explain to that client how it works. And maintain it. Don't wait for it to break down for you to give it some care. And last but not least, there's an old saying out here that a carpenter does his best work when he has sharp tools. He has to sharpen his saws. We have to look at rest when it comes to time as those sharp saws. You do have to get some rest. That is not time wasted. You are sharpening those saws, so when you get out here and you have to start applying that time to your projects, to your business, you're at your best. And you're going to move those projects along a lot faster because you are at your best self.